Okay, I am live. Is it working? Hope so. Yep, it's working. That's pretty good. Okay. Oh, hello. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm here with my best friend.
Okay.
We're at a party right now.
Oh, I guess it started at a weird time then. Though it's usually,
Oh,
though it's actually the actual time I have to stream.
oh.
But yeah, I'm
Is it?
just doing reaction streams and then talk with Reddit and stuff.
Oh.
So yeah,
Want to know how beautiful my best friend is?
sure.
100 out of 10.
Oh, that's a good score,
He's
good
that
score.
beautiful.
Yeah, that's a good score.
He has blonde hair, blue eyes,
Ooh,
and so beautiful.
yep.
Meanwhile, me sitting here with brown hair, and grayish blue eyes.
You're still beautiful.
Anyways,
Yep. I'm gonna start the
are you
video.
shy or something?
Me?
Say hi.
Hello.
He's shy as fuck.
Don't worry. Would I have made friends with shy people before, so as
Oh,
long as they are comfortable with being around me, then they can do whatever they want.
well, good. Don't give me that googly eye look.
Well, I'm going to start the video. Oh, do you want to maybe share screen? Screen one. Now I can watch.
React.
Yeah. Like, wait, I can make this quieter. This is just like
Welcome to Audit the Audits, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers wellness checks, pedestrian violations, and the right to remain silent, and is brought to us by.
Yeah, I started watching these like a couple days ago, and I got addicted to it.
Oh,
Yeah, and this is actually a pretty good videos to react to because
it's my cousin's name day.
okay, wait, main day.
Yeah, name day is a day where you celebrate your name. And
Ooh,
his name is one of the popularest.
a Daily Mail or Audit the Audit.
Daily meal.
Oh, this guy was arrested for not wearing a jacket.
What?
Yeah, this is what are we going to look at what happened because there's like video footage of it. And this guy audits the audit. He will like at the end will rank what the two to see like what happens.
Daily Mail's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On the night of February 16, 2021, 18-year-old high school student Rodney Reese was walking home from a shift at Walmart in Plano, Texas, when he was approached by officers from the Plano Police Department, who had received a phone call about a man stumbling in the middle of the street in the snow wearing a short-sleeved shirt. The body camera.
Someone called that? Wait, why
Huh?
did someone called the police because they saw a guy stumbling in the snow without a jacket and short
I
sleeves?
do?
Like, it's good if it's for a welfare check, but nothing else. Why did they call police because of that? That's so strange.
Footage
It's a bit.
begins after the.
Yeah?
I have to go in like 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I can stay here for 10 minutes.
Yeah, this video is 15 minutes, so.
Oh,
And we're just 44 seconds in. Yep. But that's fine. You are at a party after all.
I'm totally not circling it with my phone.
The officers had attempted to flag Mr. Reese down from their patrol vehicle.
Dude, stop. We're trying to help you.
Hey man, whoop. You trying to get home? Are you trying to get home? You sure? You need a ride somewhere? Hey, look, we just want to make sure you're alright. We just want to make sure you're alright. Sir, you need to talk to us, okay? Sir.
The officers ask Mr. Reese if he would like a ride home, but Mr. Reese declines, informs them that he is all right, and continues to walk home. According to an article about the incident, the officers were sent to perform a wellness check, also known as a welfare check, on Mr. Reese after receiving a call about him. A wellness check occurs when the police respond to a call or other request to check on an individual's well-being or safety, and it is not considered a type of criminal investigation. Instead, when police officers conduct wellness checks, they are performing a quote-unquote community caretaking function, which the U.S. Supreme Court defined in the 1976 case of Katie versus Dombrowski as police investigations and interactions that are, quote, totally divorced from the detection, investigation, or acquisition of evidence relating to the violation of a criminal statute. In the 2017 case of Byram versus State, the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals defined the scope of welfare checks under Texas law, stating that, quote, as part of his duty to serve and protect, a police officer may stop and assist an individual whom a reasonable person, given the totality of the circumstances, would believe is in need of help. However, because the reasonableness of a community caretaking seizure sprouts from its disassociation from the competitive enterprise of ferreting out crime, a police officer may not properly invoke his community caretaking function if he is primarily motivated by a non-community caretaking purpose. Determining whether an officer may properly invoke his community caretaking function is thus a two-step inquiry. One, whether the officer was primarily motivated by a community caretaking purpose, and two, whether the officer's belief that the individual needed help was reasonable. In determining whether an officer's belief that the individual needed help is reasonable, Texas courts will evaluate four non-exclusive factors, identified by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals in the 1999 case of Wright versus State, where the court held that, quote, in determining whether a police officer acted reasonably in stopping an individual to determine if he needs assistance, the following factors are relevant to said determination: the nature and level of the distress exhibited by the individual, the location of the individual, whether or not the individual was alone and or had access to assistance independent of that offered by the officer, and to what extent the individual, if not assisted, presented a danger to himself or others. However, the subject of a welfare check is not obligated to assist with the officer's investigations, and under Section 38.02 of the Texas Penal Code, it is only illegal for an individual to refuse to give their name, residence address, or date of birth to a peace officer if they have been lawfully arrested. Therefore, Mr. Reese was not obligated to provide his name or address to these officers during the welfare check.
Can you calm down? Alright?
Okay, that actually makes sense a lot. Because if he declined and stuff, what are the police officers really doing anyways? He already declined and says he's fine, and the welfare check should be done there. That's what I believe.
Oh.
That's what I believe. Because from what he said, the guy said about the law and stuff, because the court cases and stuff, he is obligated to refuse to give his name and stuff because it's not actually because of a suspicion or a suspect or anything like that. This is a welfare check, which means they just want to make sure he's okay and if he needs help. But he said,
That sounds,
yeah, that's all they need to
that
do.
sounds creepy.
Yeah. But this guy's like wearing a t-shirt and stuff. Obviously people will ask for a welfare check on him just in case he's fine and stuff and is safe. He says he's fine and stuff, which is also something they can't. As soon as he answers those two questions, I believe that they have to stop there. If he needed assistance, then he would say it. Like, yep, can you bring me to this location? Then yeah, they can do that. But it looks like this police officer is not really doing that. And since this is not like for criminal activity, he has no obligations to give a name and stuff.
Sir. Sir, look, we just want to talk to you. All right?
I'm on the way home. I'm straight.
Okay.
Where I'm going?
Okay, but you're walking in the middle of the road.
Wait, that's the middle of the road? Walk in the middle of the road. This does not look like the middle of the road. He's actually quite safe there. I've done this millions of times. This is not the middle of the road. The middle of the road is more to where cars are actually have to drive through. Here they don't really need to.
The officers accused Mr. Reese of walking in the road in violation of Section 552.006 of the Texas Transportation Code, which states that, quote, a pedestrian may not walk along and on a roadway if an adjacent sidewalk is provided and is accessible to the pedestrian. If a sidewalk is not provided, a pedestrian walking along and on a highway shall, if possible, walk on the left side of the roadway or the shoulder of the highway facing oncoming traffic. Section 541.302 of the Texas Transportation Code defines a roadway as, quote, the portion of a highway, other than the berm or shoulder, that is improved, designed, or ordinarily used for vehicular travel, and a highway as the width between the boundary lines of a publicly maintained way, any part of which is open to the public for vehicular traffic. While Mr. Reese claimed he was walking in the road because the sidewalks were icy, under the statutes, he should have walked on the left side of the road instead of the middle if he could not use the sidewalks. Regardless of the original reason the officers attempted to stop Mr. Reese, upon observing a violation of the Transportation Code, they had the reasonable suspicion necessary to detain him, and likely also had the probable cause necessary to place him under arrest. In the 2019 case of King versus Paxton, the Court of Appeals...
Yep.
I have to go now.
Okay, have fun.
Bye.
Yeah, bye.
of Texas in Austin held that while, quote, a welfare check is not a criminal investigation, a welfare check could, in some situations, evolve into a criminal investigation, depending on what the officers observed during the encounter. Although the officers were initially called to the scene to conduct a welfare check on Mr. Reese, once they witnessed him walking in the middle of the road, they could detain him on reasonable suspicion of a pedestrian violation, despite the fact a reasonable officer would probably conclude that he did not need help.
But that doesn't look like the middle of the road. Also, that was a rule? Never knew that.
We just trying to figure out where you're going.
Home, I just said that.
Oh,
Oh, you okay?
watch out, man.
Where's home at?
Do you want us to just give you a ride?
You already said, just leave him be.
You ain't cold or nothing? With that cheap shirt on? What's your name, man? Huh? You don't know?
Okay, they don't have to ask for the name. They don't need to follow him. That's stalking. 100% stalking. That is creepy, actually. No matter what kind of authority you have, that's kind of creepy following someone home when they asked you not to. They didn't really ask. He didn't ask him not to follow, but from his way of speaking, he's hinting that he doesn't want any help, and he's refusing the help because he doesn't need it. That's where the welfare check should end, and they leave.
Can you just stop and talk to us for a minute? Do you mind? Do you mind just talking to us for a minute? Just talk to us for a minute. Just talk to us for a minute.
I ain't gonna put my hand on the female. Please don't touch
Okay.
me.
I'm just trying to get your attention, okay? We're just trying to make sure
Ma'am,
you're okay.
don't touch me.
okay? We're trying to make sure. Sir?
I did it again. No.
Okay.
In the middle of the road, they could
We're just trying to figure out where you're going. Ooh. Watch out, man. Do you want us to just give you a ride?
Police officers, please leave him alone.
You ain't cold or nothing? With that cheese shirt on? What's your name, man? Huh? You don't know? Can you just stop and talk to us for a minute? Do you mind? Do you mind just talking to us for a minute? Just talk to us for a minute. Just talk to us for a minute.
I ain't gonna put my hand on female. Please don't touch
Okay. I'm just trying to get your attention, okay? We're just trying to make sure you're okay.
Don't touch
Trying to
me.
make sure you're okay. We're trying to make sure. Sir?
No, wait. No, wait. We're doing an investigation.
I don't care.
No, it was a welfare check. It's not an investigation. Oh, well, what?
Going home. You're officially detained. No. Yes.
After informing Mr. Reese that he was being detained, Mr. Reese attempted to walk away from the officers, which prompted them to physically restrain him. Mr. Reese initially resisted being placed into handcuffs and accidentally bumped into one of the officers. After apologizing for touching the officer, Mr. Reese was handcuffed and led to a nearby patrol car.
What's your name?
Psycho, I'm gonna take her.
What's your name? Can you at least tell me your first name?
He just wants to be at home.
I'm trying to check on you. Okay? First of all, you were in the roadway, which is a safety hazard, and you're not supposed to be in there. Alright? You're not at liberty to move around?
No.
Okay, just relax.
I thought you was turning me around. Why are you trying to put me on the ground for?
Just relax. Just relax.
Welfare check. They want to make sure he's good, and they just put him in snow. Isn't that the opposite of what they need to do? Wait. That's the opposite of what they needed to do. Oh, let me go away from this. That's completely the opposite. 100%, because a welfare check, obviously he did go on the road. I guess I was mistaken about that. I don't really know about those rules. But he could be neglectful. He didn't know about that rule. But the thing is, why are they putting him in snow? I mean, so weird. I am so confused. Let's continue.
Where do you live?
I can do it.
Where do you live?
Actually, right now you can't. Yes, I
Where
can.
do you live? Where do you live?
All right. He's not gonna cooperate.
He's going in the car.
Popping him in the back of the.
He has the right to remain silent.
After Mr. Reese refuses to answer questions, one of the officers states that if Mr. Reese is not going to cooperate, then he will be placed into the patrol car, which implies that he will be officially arrested. However, as we have discussed many times on ATA, citizens do not have a duty to assist officers with their investigations, and exercising the right to silence is not refusing to cooperate. The Fifth Amendment protection against self-incrimination exists to protect individuals from being compelled to provide incriminating or potentially incriminating evidence against themselves. However, it is important to note that the Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination is not self-executing, and an individual who wishes to use their right to remain silent must explicitly invoke the privilege, as the U.S. Supreme Court explained in the 2013 case of Salinas versus Texas. In this case, the court held that, quote, a suspect who stands mute has not done enough to put police on notice that he is relying on his Fifth Amendment privilege. In reaching this conclusion, the court rejected arguments that reliance on the Fifth Amendment privilege is the most likely explanation for silence in situations involving police questioning, and that, quote, it would be unfair to require a suspect unschooled in the particulars of legal doctrine to do anything more than remain silent in order to invoke his right to remain silent. Despite the common sense appeal of these arguments, the court concluded that, quote, someone might decline to answer a police officer's question in reliance on his constitutional privilege, but he also might do so because he is trying to think of a good lie, because he is embarrassed, or because he is protecting someone else. Not every such possible explanation authoritative of guilt, but neither is every possible explanation protected by the Fifth Amendment. While a court would likely find that Mr. Reese did not expressly invoke his Fifth Amendment privilege, he certainly was within his rights to not answer the officers' questions or assist in their investigation.
Yeah, he forgot to invoke his Fifth Amendment, say, I have the right to remain silent, and then stay silent. Wait, imagine you get pulled over by a police officer, and then say, I have the right to remain silent, and then you stay silent. You know how, you know how people say, like, if officers are like, you have the right to remain silent, like in the movies, right? Imagining a police officer comes. I know I said this already a little bit, but police officer comes. You have the right. I have the right to remain silent, and then you stay silent for the entire time. That's amazing.
Mr. Parkman, spread your feet out. You got anything that's gonna poke and stab me, nothing like that? You don't have any weapons on you like that?
He's wearing a t-shirt wanting to go home. Why would he have weapons on him? Unless you're from Texas, but other than that... Not everyone carries guns everywhere with them. That's definitely illegal in Canada. I don't know, actually. Wait, what is the rules for... I'm going to have to research that after stream.
The officers eventually placed Mr. Reese in the back of a police cruiser and transported him to the Plano City Jail, where he spent the night. Mr. Reese was charged with being a pedestrian in the roadway in violation of Section 552.006 of the Texas Transportation Code, which is a Class C misdemeanor offense. According to the Plano Police Department's Facebook...
Since when were the classes? Class C? Wait. I need to go search it up. Wait, Google. Because I was told that I use Bing. Okay. What are the crime classifications? Their most serious crimes are classified as felonies. Those can be felony, misdemeanors, enjoined offenses, strict liability offenses. No, what crimes classification order in classification class as murderers, violent criminals, criminals acting in priority on property, and less suspicious listful of criminals. Even this classification is based on impressionistic analysis rather than on facts. That doesn't make sense. Some others have classified criminals as professionals, casual, and habitual. I guess like professionals as in like assassins, hitmen and stuff. Casual is like you just do it on your own. And habitual is just a habit, I guess. What are the crimes? Letter. Class A and level 1. Wait. Class A is like felonies. Okay. Let's go back.
Post on the incident, quote, the arresting officer noted in the arrest report that although the subject committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of interference with public duties by resisting officers' efforts to detain and handcuff him, the officers elected to only charge him with pedestrian in the roadway. The charges against Mr. Reese were eventually dropped by Plano Police Chief Ed Drain, who stated that the arrest wasn't consistent with why officers were called to investigate in the first place. At the time of writing this episode, it is unclear whether Mr. Reese will be pursuing legal action. Overall, the Plano officers get an F for betraying the community caretaking function of a welfare check, exercising poor discretion by needlessly pursuing Mr. Reese, and for arresting Mr. Reese for a minor violation in an effort to gain control of the situation. Given that welfare checks are not considered criminal investigations, Mr. Reese was under no legal obligation to engage with the officers upon their initial approach. And there is certainly an argument to be made that the stress of being followed by police officers for no apparent reason was a factor in Mr. Reese's violation of the walking in the roadway statutes. When Mr. Reese informed the officers that he was not in need of help and that he did not wish to speak to the officers, the community caretaking aspect of the encounter was dissolved, and instead of allowing Mr. Reese to continue on his way, the officers decided to invoke the authority of Section 552.006 to justify their continued pursuit. This is yet another interaction where a lawful justification may have existed to arrest a citizen, but when the totality of the facts are considered, it is clear that the intent of the law was not aligned with the results of its enforcement. What began as an attempt to ensure that Mr. Reese was not in need of assistance quickly evolved into a criminal investigation and arrest. And it appears that the deciding factor for that evolution was Mr. Reese's reluctance to comply with the officers. Another important aspect of this interaction is the line of questioning that was presented to Mr. Reese as the officers were following him. The Plano officers never asked.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would also give them an F. And for the guy being followed, I forgot his name. I'm very terrible with names. He probably gets like a B or a A minus.
Asked Mr. Reese if he was suffering from any kind of mental disturbance or ailment, and were purely focused on ascertaining Mr. Reese's identity and determining where he intended to go. At no point did the officers express an authentic concern for Mr. Reese's health and well-being, and any reasonable citizen would have likely perceived their actions as hostile and confrontational. The Plano officers utterly failed to consider the practical implications of their conduct, and this interaction showcases the type of behavior that manufactures distrust between members of law enforcement and their respective communities. Mr. Reese gets a B+, because although it could be argued that he was a victim of police retaliation, he did commit a violation in plain view of the officers, and he did resist the officers as they attempted to place him into handcuffs. As mentioned before, there is a high degree of stress associated with any police contact, and Mr. Reese's desire to get away from the officers likely played a role in his decision to walk into the roadway. Setting aside the merits of the national debate regarding police misconduct in America, the societal context of this encounter cannot be ignored. There are millions of Americans who fear interacting with the police, and the hyper-focus that has been placed on police misconduct, coupled with the often exaggerated narratives associated with mainstream media coverage of the issue, is enough to make any reasonable individual question whether their own interactions will render a similar newsworthy outcome. Nearly all major media outlets are guilty of either dramatically amplifying or fiercely downplaying the significance and legitimacy of any police encounter that finds its way into the news cycle, and this leaves many Americans confused, conflicted, and lacking an understanding of even the most basic elements of the issue. It's no surprise that many Americans have subscribed to radical perspectives regarding police when the institutions that have long been held as a beacon of reliable information have all but abandoned the traditional role of providing information and context and become infused with partisan ideologies. In this climate, anyone who is contacted by police officers while innocently walking down the street is warranted in feeling uneasy, stressed, and compromised. And escalating a welfare check into an unnecessary arrest does nothing to curb the public's negative perception of law enforcement. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic.
That does make sense. Like, why do people like seeing the police officers as the bad guys in the news? Because that's all I've seen from the United States, at least. And some of these videos, like, there are so many bad ones. But that doesn't mean that all police officers are like that. But, yeah, the officers in this video are in the wrong, definitely. They completely misunderstood. Well, next. Next. Yeah, here's the disclaimer as well again.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong.
Wait just a second, I need to go grab something to drink. Oh. There we go.
Police interactions. This episode covers court cases, search warrants, and obstruction, and is brought to us by AL.com's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. Before we dive into the episode, I want to invite you to check out the new Audit the Audit merchandise shelf just below this video. I strive to create merch that is more than just a billboard for this channel, and I personally design the graphics for all ATA products. Merch is a great way to show your support for this channel, and to show my support for this audience, I will be giving away 3 Audit the Audit shirts to randomly selected viewers who subscribe to this channel and leave a comment on this video.
Yeah, do that. You don't have to pay anything actually, but I do not claim these videos at all.
Will end 1 week from this video being posted, so be sure to hit the subscribe button before.
Oh, I just realized something. I could actually get copyrighted from something. Wait, I'm gonna do that now. Maybe you can continue this.
Too late. Now let's dive right in and audit the interaction. On February 23rd, 2017, attorneys Victor Rebel and Megan Garcia were leaving the courthouse with their client, Lloyd Edwards, after appearing in court in reference to a protection from abuse order initiated by Mr. Edwards' wife, Jasmine. Before leaving the courthouse, Mr. Edwards gave 2 of his 3 cell phones to Mr. Rebel. As Ms. Garcia, Mr. Rebel, and Mr. Edwards exited the courthouse, they were confronted by Deputy Ashworth and Deputy Ratliff at the Blount County Sheriff's Office in Blount County, Alabama, who were attempting to serve a search warrant of Mr. Edwards and his vehicle.
Ashland Sheriff's Office. Take a look at it. Do you have any other weapons on your person at this time that I need to know about? RC. No, sir. I do in the car. Okay. What do you have in normal with? A small pistol. Okay.
Oh wait, I can't focus here. Okay, let's delete or delete forever. Yeah. And then I want to edit the last one. Wait, I need to get...
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we...
I do not own those songs. There we go. Now I can just place it into the description. As the videos that came... is owned by the videos I watched. Okay. There we go. Now that's finished, I can take this out and we can continue watching.
It was also part of this search. Okay. So I'm gonna have to ask you, do you have the keys to your automobile? Yes, sir. I need the keys to your automobile right now. Let me pat you down, make sure you don't have any other weapon. Just for your safety and ours.
But from the title alone, I noticed it's gonna be really bad. Really bad because, why would a police officer arrest a lawyer who is paid to defend their client? They don't have, I don't think they have a choice in the matter. And everyone has the right to have a lawyer.
Hang tight, we'll get all this resolved.
As mentioned earlier in the video, Mr. Edwards was appearing in court about a protection order issued by his wife. Mrs. Edwards alleged that Mr. Edwards had abused her and their daughter, and testified that Mr. Edwards' cell phones contained proof of her claims. Mrs. Edwards' testimony led the prosecution to pursue a search warrant for Mr. Edwards' person and vehicle, specifically targeting his 3 cell phones. I called the Rebel law firm, and Mr. Rebel stated that there was no evidence of abuse on the phones, and that the phones actually contained evidence that supported Mr. Edwards' innocence. Mr. Revel claims that Mrs. Edwards had exchanged explicit messages with Mr. Edwards, which indicated that her interactions with him were consensual and that he intended to submit the phones as evidence for the defense. Mr. Edwards later stated that Mr. Revel told him that, quote, "There may come a day when the prosecution wants your phone," and one of the attorneys asked him for the two phones just before exiting the courtroom. The phones were then placed into Mrs. Garcia's briefcase prior to exiting the building.
The warrants that you all have are for his person.
Wait, let's go back.
Wants your phone. And one of the attorneys asked him for the two phones just before exiting the courtroom. The phones were then placed into Mrs. Garcia's briefcase prior to exiting the building.
Did the attorney put it in her briefcase as evidence, or I'm confused about that.
The warrants that you all have are for his person.
That's correct.
And for his vehicle.
That's correct.
So he is given the phone that's on his person. Okay, I have video of him handing the phone to you. You handing the phone to her. It's in the satchel right now. No, you all do have that, but that is not on. When you all
No, I'm
came
not
on
here
him
at the courthouse
to serve
with
this
Brian on
warrant,
the search
that was
warrant.
not on his person. So you all are not entitled to that. Okay.
So I was a little bit right. There we go.
The warrants that you all have are for his person.
That's
and
correct.
for video of him handing the phone to you. You handing the phone to her. It's in the satchel right now. No, you all do have that, but that is not on. When you all
No, I'm
came
not
on
here at
him
the courthouse
to serve
with
this
Brian on
warrant,
the search
that was
warrant.
not on his person.
Okay, I don't think they have the privilege to do that. Okay, let me just give my opinion. Okay, doing that is actually quite criminalizing. They could tamper the evidence and stuff. And if they don't have, if they have something they want to use to support them, might as well let the police see it, and then they're like, yep, because they do have a warrant. But why would they do that? I'm confused. So confused because this is so strange. Okay, let's go back.
So you all are not entitled to that. Okay. Well, I can. We'll go the other route to get that other phone.
As Mr. Revel mentioned, the language of the search warrant dictates that the search may be performed on Mr. Edwards' immediate person and vehicle only. Since Mr. Edwards was not in possession of the phones at the time of the warrant being served, the deputies are not entitled to them. If the deputies had acquired a search warrant for the phones themselves, then they may have had some authority to seize them. But the
Yeah, that is true.
validity of such a search warrant would be questionable, considering that the defense also intends to submit the phones as evidence. The search warrant presented by the officers does not authorize them to search Mrs. Garcia, but the prosecution does have a trick up its sleeve, which we will discuss later in the video. After realizing that Mr. Revel is refusing to comply with the search, Deputy Ashworth calls the district attorney's office for advice on how to proceed.
Hi, we're standing here and we have it on video that he handed his cell phone to his attorney, one, and then handed it to another, and it's in the satchel that is right here.
Well, are we being detained?
Right now, they're in the right so far because it has to be on him and his car, the search warrant, nothing else. I'm just using nothing else at all. Nothing else.
This moment in time,
They're not denying it. We have it on video.
detain you until we determine the next course of action. Give me
Well,
just a minute.
what I have is
Okay.
person and vehicle.
I'm going to turn this off. What we just done.
Okay. Okay. We either need the phone out of the satchel, or we.
They don't have the authority to do so. So far, the police aside, I will say they're having like a C at least. Well, they have, or actually, a, no, I'll give them B for the lawyer as well.
We will have to detain you and get a search warrant to get the phone.
So you're gonna well, okay. Well, we're not going to give you we're not going to give you anything that's on our person that you don't have a right to. So if you detain us, you got there's you have to have there's certain constitutional safeguards to do that. But if you're going to detain us, then hey, we're not going to run. So and you all are telling us we are being detained. Is that right, Officer Rapp?
Do what? Say it again. Okay. You both are under arrest for obstructing government operations.
Okay, that is she a police officer? She doesn't look like it. They can't place them under arrest. They're in the right because they don't have a warrant on them. They're actually in the right. So far, they have changed their side from a C to a D.
That's correct.
This is definitely an unlawful arrest. But we're under arrest. We're under arrest.
Mr. Revel is more than correct that this arrest is unlawful. Not only are the deputies charging Mr. Revel under the authority of an irrelevant search warrant, but neither Mr. Revel or Mrs. Garcia did anything that would constitute a violation of Alabama Code 13A-10-2. The code states that a person commits the crime of obstructing governmental operations if, by means of intimidation, physical force, or interference, intentionally obstructs the administration of law or prevents a public servant from performing a governmental function. Neither Mr. Revel nor Mrs. Garcia conducted themselves in a manner that was intimidating, physically forceful, or interfering. They both simply stated that they would not comply with the deputies' unlawful orders. They did nothing to prevent the deputies from seizing the phone. If the deputies were so sure that the search warrant authorized them to seize the phones, then what was stopping them from taking Mrs. Garcia's bag and getting them? Certainly not Mr. Revel or Mrs. Garcia.
Okay, I changed my mind. The officers, D minus.
We have it on video.
We have not.
Yeah, this is going to go against the police officers.
We have not broken the law. So if you're arresting us, I'm being arrested for obstructing government operations.
That's correct.
Can we take off this right here?
They haven't interfered at all. They're just saying like, nope, I do not give permission to look through my bags because you don't have a warrant on me. That's what they're saying. I will definitely sue them. That's for sure. They get like a B plus so far, maybe an A at best.
Y'all want to arrest two lawyers for this charge? You sure you want to do this?
Are you subject to the law?
I am subject to the law.
You're under arrest.
Okay. And this is.
They can get fired for this, actually, the police officers. This is quite unlawful.
And who are you?
I'm Sue Ashworth, the company attorney.
Sue Ashworth?
That's correct. And this is Brian Ratliff.
And you're arresting us under her orders?
She doesn't look like an officer.
Yes, sir. Okay. Deputy Ratliff, yes, I want to make sure that you know from our position was that this search warrant, this warrant was given to him after he gave us some things for us to use in his defense. And so we did not do anything to keep you all from doing you all's job. Now, if you all want to take this satchel and go through and do it, we can't. We're not preventing you from doing it. So I just wanted to make that clear.
From the moment he's entered the courthouse, he's been under surveillance.
Yeah.
Okay? For the reasons of this search warrant. Alright? I've sat here and watched you and him and her in front of the elevator. You looked up. Matter of fact, you did look up at the camera 2 or 3 times. He pulled the phone out and handed it to you. You handed it back to him. He was fooling with.
They're becoming B minus minus. They're getting an F actually soon.
Guessing a
Okay, I just
password,
want to keep on the line.
and after a short period of time, he handed it back to you.
D minus so far.
Okay, that is evidence
D minus.
for this search.
Getting close
And
to
you
F.
assured me that you all served this search warrant out subsequent to that, after that, right?
Yeah.
After we left out the jail.
Yeah.
The deputies fail to understand the authoritative limitations of the search warrant, and Mr. Revel and Mrs. Garcia were arrested and charged under Code 13A-10-2. The prosecution initially offered to drop the charges if Mr. Revel agreed to write a letter apologizing and admitting that the deputies did nothing wrong, but Mr. Revel rejected their offer and decided to proceed with a trial. In the ensuing criminal trial, Mr. Revel and Mrs. Garcia's defense argued that the state failed to establish the defendant's intent and that no crime
Oh, thank you, Aligala, for the for the follow. I am so happy you came. Right now we're doing a reaction stream, and then we go to Reddit. Although, how old? Hmm. 4,916. 4,916. Yep. Okay. But yeah, we're watching this. The officers are getting, so for like a D minus, maybe an F. But yeah, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. So yeah.
Admitted because the search warrant did not authorize the search of Mr. Edwards' attorneys. The prosecution argued that they were entitled to the phones under the exigent circumstances doctrine, which is a legal precedent that allows for warrantless searches in circumstances where evidence has a high likelihood.
That's because if you aren't older than 18, I wasn't gonna recommend you an anime I really liked. Ooh. Show me. I want to know. I actually want to. I'm curious. I guess I can say that 4,916 years in Vamp Cat years is still considered a teenager. But yeah. So yeah. Oh. A fly went into my face. I can say I'm okay, but do you have decent self-control? I do have decent self-control. I have watched a lot of things that it was actually over my age recommendation, and I'm fine with it. Because like okay, good, then I'll recommend you. It's called Kaiju Imo. Oh. Hello, Adrian. Wait. Let me go see what this is about. Oh. Ooh, it's an older one. And that's a really high score for my standards. It's in my top number 3 animes. Ooh. Kaiju Imo Ultimate Survive. Okay. It is a pretty lesser known. Actually, I want to go check it out sometime. Thank you for the suggestion. But I can't watch it in the stream because it's copyrighted. It's about capitalism and gambling. Ooh. That is a little interesting. Yep. Don't worry. I'm actually pretty good self-control, in my opinion anyways. Like, I can watch stuff, but I won't really do anything about it. Because I've watched Jurassic Park when I was a toddler, so yeah. How you doing? I'm doing good. Still wearing a brace. That's why I'm still doing reaction streams. But after watching this video and then the next, I am going to go to Reddit and read about Am I the Butthole? So yeah, I'm doing well. Starting to get a little sick, but that's fine. Because I still can be here. Well, let's continue.
Likelihood of being
Because my friend wanted to get into the world of gambling after watching it, but I stopped him. Ooh, sounds fun. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of gambling. Sick, you say? I'm just a little sick. Just a very mild sickness. It's very little noticeable. Just a little bit of a tingle in the throat. Some sneezes here and there. But that's fine. Hope you get better. Aw, thank you. Thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of gambling. So I can still watch it because I do not intend on gambling anytime soon anyways. So yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah, I hope so too. Especially with the arm part. So yeah. I do hope I get better soon.
Such as cell phone data. I have covered the exigent circumstances doctrine in a previous video, which I will link in the info card above. During the trial, Mr. Edwards, who was still under investigation at the time, testified for the prosecution, but stated that District Attorney Casey tried to prep him in his testimony, even though she had reportedly recused herself from the case, and Mr. Edwards became a key witness for Mr. Rebel's defense. Ultimately, Judge King acquitted Mr. Rebel and Mrs. Garcia of all charges and stated that the deputies were wrong about the authority of the search warrant and that the defendants never physically prevented the deputies from carrying out their duties. Mr. Rebel
That is true. That is true. You know, I won a... You won? 40 euros giveaway. Congratulations! 40 euros is like about 60 to $80, I believe. Euro to CAD. And 40 euros is... Oh. Yeah, 53 to $60. Throw 200 on here. Oh, that's a lot. $53.60. That is a lot of money, too. So I got Cyberpunk 2077! Yeah! Congrats! And also, put this away. But yeah, congrats! That's actually a lot of money. $53.60. Because I know that like 10 euros is like about $20 to $30. And that's a lot of money.
and Mrs. Garcia were forced to recuse themselves from Mr. Edwards' case after filing 2 separate federal lawsuits against Deputy Ratliff and Deputy Ashworth, as well as District Attorney Casey and the Assistant District Attorney Scott Gilliland. It is worth noting that Mr. Edwards has yet to go to trial, and his case has been reset by a different grand jury several times over the past 2 years. It is highly irregular for a district attorney to delay indictment when the suspect has been charged, and there is merit to the notion that she may be delaying Mr. Edwards' prosecution so that she can use his pending case as leverage against.
So what happened last stream? Did you get things fixed? I don't know. I think it was bad Wi-Fi or something. But you can come to YouTube. Go into my channel. Wait, go to my channel. And then you can see yesterday's stream here. You can easily see there. but I think it was from either bad Wi-Fi or Twitch was being buggy. So yeah, at least right now it's pretty good. The Wi-Fi gotten a little much better probably.
Him for his testimony in the federal lawsuit against her. Nonetheless, Mr. Revel is optimistic about the case.
I know I subscribed so I won't miss out things. Yay! Thank you for the subscription. Yeah. Don't worry, I'll upload this also into YouTube as well. I figured out how to do it without downloading the entire thing and then uploading into YouTube and then taking forever to upload. Accidentally uploaded 3 videos of the same thing.
And told me that he expects to reach a settlement agreement with certain undisclosed stipulations. Overall, the deputies and district attorneys of the Blount County Sheriff's Office get an F.
I don't know if I said this, but congrats on 26 followers. Aw, thank you! I am so happy that every single one of you decided to follow, because that means I am interesting. And I am so happy that you support me and stuff, because that really means a lot. 26 people is still a lot of people, because that's 26 unique people deciding to go and follow, because no one is the same. Because everything is different with each other. That's why I'm so happy that all of you decided to follow.
For exaggerating the authority of a search warrant.
Yep, I knew it. One thing I already know, you're going to get it to 100 in a month or even faster. Really? Really? I would be so happy about that. Yeah. Because I'm actually going pretty steady. I'm always right about this. Aw. I'm so happy you think so. Because I'm actually growing pretty steadily for a new streamer. Because I only started streaming like last month. Yeah, last month. So yeah, I'm so happy.
Violating Mr. Revel and Mrs. Garcia's Fourth Amendment rights and falsely arresting them for obstruction. At one point in the video, Deputy Ashworth states that she is detaining Mr. Revel and Mrs. Garcia until she is able to acquire a search warrant. And she may have had the authority to do that under the exigent circumstance doctrine. If Deputy Ashworth had stuck to that plan, she may have been able to legally seize the phones, but she instead chose to escalate.
If you keep streaming, you get there. Yep. And I don't think I will stop streaming anytime soon. Definitely not going to. So yeah. Also, big news. I found someone who is willing to make me a model. And I'm so happy about it. Oh.
Detainment to an arrest.
Because like she's so sweet. Yeah, new model incoming? Yeah. Oh, wait. Yeah, new model. Yeah, we're going to have a new model soon. Gonna miss this one. Yeah, this one was a temporary one. But I'm soon going to get a model. It still needs to be made though, so it's going to take a few months. So yeah, this model won't leave anytime soon. But this person, she is so sweet. 104, show 104. I highly recommend go and seeing her streams as well. Because she's so sweet. She is a very sweet person. And for some reason, Twitter AIs thinks that she's gonna be my spouse. So, yeah.
Rather than waiting for a proper search warrant. The phones were eventually searched.
Oh yeah, be right back. I got it. You gotta announce some things on Discord before I forget. Ooh. Wait, I need to go grab Discord and branch here. Wait. Oh. I won't be stream out. I'm at a party, but I can VC. Okay. I am excited for it to come. But yeah, Show 104. Highly recommend going to her channel because she her Twitch account because she is so sweet enough to go and help me. She also made a chibi version of my new model.
But they did not contain any usable evidence. And even if they had, the prosecution would not have been able to submit them as evidence in the trial against Mr. Edwards because the phones were illegally obtained. The only
Yeah, that is true.
thing that the prosecution got out of this interaction was a federal lawsuit that will likely result in a hefty settlement. Mr. Revel gets an A+ for having the mental agility and conversational fortitude to dispute the validity of the search warrant and the courage and conviction to defend his personal liberty.
Welcome back. I can wait. I need to go see. Wait. Yep, welcome back. I am so happy you're back. Yay!
And stand by his defendant's rights.
Yeah,
Mr.
that is
Revel
true.
immediately knew that the arrest was unlawful and offered the deputies multiple opportunities to reconsider. There is no doubt that Mr. Revel and Mrs. Garcia will walk away from this case with a victory, and any client would be lucky to have their representation. Mr. Revel deserves recognition for his conduct during this interaction, and I will leave a link to the Revel.
I just had to announce the next stream. Ooh. Wait, I'm gonna go. Wait, I should have done this before. View page source. Oh. I did not want to see the source ever again. Wait, I'm gonna go to you. I'm going to you, Adrian. Oh. There you go. Now we can continue.
Law firm's website in the description below for anyone in Alabama who may be interested in seeking their services. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to cover.
Okay. Actually, I agree with this guy as well. They did pretty well. I would give them an A. They actually did keep calm. You didn't have to, but I wanted to. I wanted to. You're so sweet and decided to join me in my streams. And the best I can repay you at the moment is following back. So yeah. But thank you. You're welcome. You're very welcome. Well, next video. Yeah, this guy's Audit the Odd is the guy I'm watching right now. Oh.
Welcome to Audit the Audits, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers alcohol possession, obstruction, and excessive force, and is brought to us by 6 ABC Philadelphia's channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On May 25th, 2018, 20-year-old Philadelphia resident Emily Weinman was sitting with a friend on a beach in Wildwood, New Jersey, when she was approached by Officer Thomas Cannon and Officer Robert Jordan of the Wildwood Police Department. Both officers were Class 2 Special Law Enforcement officers, which, as the Wildwood PD's website explains, are temporary officers brought on to assist with the tourist population during the summer months, with most special law enforcement officers being college students earning credits towards their degree through the program. After approaching Ms. Weinman, Officer Cannon and Officer Jordan began to question her about some unopened bottles of alcoholic twisted tea.
I said another person the same thing, that will give up sleep time or personal time to support whoever I can because I need to. It's so no need for thanking me. Present the same thing, I will give us up sleep time or personal time to support whoever I. Aw, you're so sweet, but sleep is still important. I wouldn't lose. Never mind. But I will sleep when it hits midnight. That's the latest I would stay up for. But sometimes I accidentally lose time and then stay up till like 1 or 2. But I still get plenty of sleep. So don't lose too much, okay? Because sleep is important to everyone. Or else we will be dead. Because we need energy. I slept for about 3 hours at night this whole year, so I'm good. Okay, I'll let you know, Adrian. I have troubles just sleeping for 8 hours. Very have troubles. And the best amount of sleep I would like to get is 12 hours. Maybe longer. But that's also 12 hours lost. But I love sleep. Sleep is very nice and relaxing. But yeah.
We're sitting beside.
But I am vampire cat. I sleep a lot because of my cat genes. So, yeah. Actually, last night I went to bed at, slept at 11, and then got up at 9, so that will be 10 hours. And I still felt very sleepy when I got up. So, yeah. 10 hours is still not enough for me.
At a cooler near where Ms. Weinman.
I was get my sleep in the bus now to school or in school on the breaks. To be fair, I did attempt to sleep in. I did fall asleep probably in the library before because it's nice and cozy and stuff to sleep at. My sister also fell asleep in the bus and inside the library as well, so yeah. I don't blame you. But you still need plenty of sleep in your own bed. 3 hours is not enough. So yeah. Let's continue the video.
And her friend were sitting.
So your parents? Oh, your aunt? Where's your aunt at?
On your way. She left, she's coming back.
Left, she's coming back? Cool. Do me a favor. Take a deep breath and blow into that, alright? Alright, do me a favor. Try one more time. Deep breath. Don't go so far in.
Is there a standard problem? Mind your business.
Wait, that doesn't make sense. If it goes in there, you get the most breaths, but from the out, you could actually get the alcohol smell into the test.
Alright, where's your aunt at? You have her phone number? How old are you?
I know that didn't come up positive. I didn't take a drink of anything, so.
Alright, yo guys, even if it's your aunt, she is of age.
Is she of age?
Yeah, how old is she? Like 40?
Okay. Wait. Is they talking to the girl that's also there? Why is she giving personal information on her? Is that her business? She's not allowed to give anyone else their personal information unless they allow it to. And from what she is doing, she can say, so what do you intend to do for the 50 followers goal? Ooh, 50 followers goal. Right now, I'm having 30 followers goal. I don't really have anything to do for the 30 followers goal. Wait a minute. For the 30. I don't know actually. I am not someone who really plans what happens when I have like so many goals. I don't even have a goal for this current goal. I didn't even do for the 10 follower goal. But yeah, that is a big question, which I don't know what to do for. Who knows? Something that's popular for goals on Twitch is karaoke. Ooh, that is true. I was thinking of karaoke, but that means I can't put it on my YouTube. Yeah, let's do that for my 50 follower goal. Because doesn't have to stay up on the internet. Someone else can take it and then put it on YouTube, and then they see it. People see it, and then I grow. I will grow. Okay, I will stop there. But yeah, I'm not the greatest singer, but I still can sing. Thank you for a goal suggestion. So yeah, for now, let's go.
Alright, go grab her real quick. We're gonna have them pour that all out.
How are you gonna let us go? We didn't even drink alcohol.
It's in your possession. Well, where's your aunt at?
You're allowed to carry alcohol.
That's interesting.
You're underage. You are. You're not allowed to drink it, and we did not
Open
drink it.
display on the beach.
What?
It's possession.
What? These are so far. I'll give the. Also got ideas for deans when you get affiliate if you need them. Thank you! Thank you so much. I really do want for some redeems and stuff. Because so far I have none. I also still need to get emotes. Which I need to get. But that's for later on. Right now, I am working on something so that I can actually get a place for my donations so that if you really wanted to, you still can. But for some reason, my card isn't accepted in Twitch, so yeah. Let us continue.
Consumption.
It's not open.
Open display means
What do you mean? That doesn't
you can
mean
see it.
anything.
Yes.
Okay, you can.
Police officer is so far having an F. What I am seeing them is harassing the citizens. That's what I'm seeing. And I give the two girls probably a B for not really staying that cool. They could say I have the right to remain silent and then they will stay silent. They can't do anything about it.
See it, and we're not drinking.
5043. Show me over the LO's calendar in the beach.
The officers informed Ms. Weinman that it is illegal for underage individuals to have alcohol in their possession and in public view on the beach, even if they do not consume them. And this is an accurate statement of the applicable law. Section 2C 33-15 of the New Jersey statutes makes it a non-criminal disorderly persons offense for a person under the age of 21 to knowingly possess without legal authority or knowingly consume an alcoholic beverage in a public place. Similarly, Section 4-1.2 of Wildwood Municipal Code states that, quote, "It shall be a violation of this section for any person to commit any of the following acts on the beach, boardwalk, or boardwalk approaches during the months of May, June, July, August, and September of each year. Openly display, expose, or dispense, or offer to dispense, or to consume any beer, wine, whiskey, or other alcoholic beverages." However, it is possible that a court would find that Ms. Weinman did not have the Twisted Teas in her possession, as they allegedly belonged to her aunt, and were simply nearby the location where she was sitting. In general, an individual can be charged with a possession-based offense if they have actual or, quote-unquote, constructive possession of an object. As the Supreme Court of New Jersey explained in the 2006 case of State v. Morrison, quote, "A person has actual possession of an object when he has physical or manual control of it. Alternatively, a person has constructive possession of an object when, although he lacks physical or manual control, the circumstances permit a reasonable inference that he has knowledge of its presence and intends and has the capacity to exercise physical control or dominion over it during a span of time." If the Twisted Teas did belong to Miss Weinman's aunt, and Miss Weinman had not carried them or otherwise exerted physical control over them and did not intend to do so, Ms. Weinman would have a strong argument that she did not possess any alcoholic beverages. However, the court would likely agree that the officers at least had the reasonable suspicion necessary to detain Ms. Weinman, both to investigate whether she was underage and in possession of alcohol, and because the beverages were openly displayed in violation of the local ordinance.
How about that?
Will you lock me up for a if you want the water over there?
Yeah, you're not cooperating.
Yeah, she.
Yeah.
Your aunt didn't disrespect you. I didn't do anything to get written up, did I?
Calls in the seat. Now you're causing the scene. You want it? Alright, I'll give you one more chance to give me your last name. Just be cooperative.
Just say I have the right to remain silent, and then they don't need to.
You can't lock me up. I didn't disrespect you.
Okay.
I
First of all,
You're gonna come over here.
where's your aunt at then?
She's on her way.
Okay, what's your
You
last
could
name?
wait here. That's like you wasted your time coming over here. You could wait here for her.
Okay, what's your last name?
You don't need my last name.
The officers ask Miss Weinman to provide her last name and threaten to arrest her for obstruction if she does not comply with their demands. But she refuses and claims that she has not broken any laws. Although New Jersey does not have a stop and identify statute that would require Ms. Weinman to identify herself to the officers, Section 2C 33-15 of the New Jersey statutes, which is the underage alcohol possession statute we discussed earlier, does subject underage individuals who possess or consume alcohol to certain penalties, including a written warning issued by a law enforcement officer to the underage person for first-time offenders. Now, quoting, "The written warning shall include the person's name, address, and date of birth, and a copy of the warning containing this information, plus a sworn statement that includes a description of the relevant facts and circumstances that support the officer's determination that the person committed the violation." Therefore, it is possible that the officers were attempting to identify Ms. Weinman in order to write this written warning, or check her record for previous violations, which would subject her to additional penalties. However, Ms. Weinman likely could not be found guilty of obstruction for simply refusing to provide her last name. According to Section 2C 29-1 of the New Jersey statutes, quote, "A person commits an offense if he purposely obstructs, impairs, or perverts the administration of law or other governmental function, or prevents or attempts to prevent a public servant from lawfully performing an official function by means of flight, intimidation, force, violence, or physical interference or obstacle, or by means of any independently unlawful act." As the Appellate Division of the Superior Court of New Jersey explained in the 2005 case of State v. Camilo, quote, "Simply obstructing, impairing, or perverting the administration of law or the governmental function is no longer a statutory violation. The obstruction must be carried out in a manner described in the statute." The court then concluded that an individual could not be convicted of obstruction for refusing to provide his name, date of birth, and social security number because, quote, "he did not physically interfere with Trooper Dykeman. What he did was refuse to provide information the trooper required to complete his incident report." While defendant's actions may, in fact, have in a real sense obstructed the trooper from preparing his report, that conduct, in the absence of physical interference, is not a violation. For this reason,
Yeah.
it is highly unlikely that Ms. Weinman could be convicted of obstruction for refusing to give her name.
Said I'm done with you. Do you have cuffs on you?
No, Matt.
Get over here.
Don't talk to me.
Yo.
Okay, they're illegally cuffing her. She said wait for her on because they can't teleport. Oh, that was a good snap. But yeah, they can't just teleport. I'm learning. Can you hear it? I'm doing good snap. Finger snapping. I forgot what this called. What is this called again? Oh well. But yeah, what they're doing is unlawful. People can't just teleport like this. Yeah, it takes time. She's like saying wait for her aunt, and because she could be in the bathroom out of anything, and she has to get out of the stall and then walk all the way back. Who knows what's happening?
Alright, you're about to get dropped.
Yo, don't touch me, Matt. Don't.
Get over here.
What are you doing? Don't.
After briefly chasing Ms. Weinman a short distance across the beach, she turns around and shoves the officer before being thrown to the ground. Ms. Weinman immediately begins resisting the officers and calling out to her nearby friends. At some point during the scuffle, one of the officers punches Ms. Weinman in the head several times before managing...
Sorry, I'm not chatting that much. I'm resting my eyes a little bit. Eyes a bit. Got a headache. Oh, that's fine. It's completely fine. That you don't need to chat all the time, so it just makes it a little more chatty. But I can still do some things. If you have a headache, get as much rest as you can. Headaches are quite annoying. Drink as much as you can. Not alcohol, but drink as much water as you can. It could be because of that. And rest as much, completely as much as you're able to. Because headaches are annoying. And if it's because of some eyes and it hurts because of the eyesight, try to get it checked up from an eye doctor. It could be from that, But if it's just from just a regular headache, just get as much rest and drink as much as you can. That's my advice. And again, you don't have to chat in the chat. It just makes it feel more lively in my chat. Just that. I still can stream and stuff. But so far, she is getting like a B or C minus maybe. C plus. C minus, I want to give it to her. Officers, F. That's what I understand. The headaches can wait. The headaches can wait, yeah! But yeah, the headaches can wait. 100% can wait. Yeah. If anything, headaches aren't welcome. Can you please leave the heads, please, headaches? Can you please leave? I can't be bothered just by a headache. Yeah. Yeah. That is true. You can't just be bothered by the headaches. But I hope your headaches will go down pretty soon. But again, drink as much as you can. Drink as much water. I mean, not drink alcohol. Alcohol, no. It doesn't help. She is... Okay, she got punched. She was harassed. She's getting... And she's... But she is also resisting an arrest. If he says you're under arrest, you might as well comply. But you can't forcibly punch her if she's already cuffed. But she shouldn't arrest an officer because of that. She didn't do anything wrong. Why are they detaining her from that? She says that her aunt is coming. Why aren't they listening to her?
I wasn't drinking anything. Just smell it. It wasn't even open, bro. Shut me up. I can't believe you did that.
She's now stressed from it. She's now hyperventilating, and she is not happy. I blame the sand. Yeah, the sand. Yep, the sand. But the officers aren't in their right to do so. She is not calm. They're not. They actually made it way worse than it could have been. If they listen to her say that her aunt is coming and then they come, everything could have been way better if they just listened to her. Plus, if you're in Canada, you guys already start drinking at 18. Might as well come here in the cold. Never mind, go to the United States in the warmth. Except having bad officers. Now there's the two things. Canada with good officers, or United States with bad officers. Which one do we choose? Canada's cold, but has good officers. United States is way warmer, but has bad officers from what I could see. I don't know. Both of them seems very weird. Has their own temptations. Yeah, I don't know. But free healthcare. But it's not really free because of taxes. Okay, I should continue this.
Off of me.
Yeah, but blame the sand.
Don't stare unless you're gonna out.
She's, yeah, C minus for her. Maybe a D plus. But the officer's F.
You need to get the. You fight piece of trash. Ew. Oh yeah, now we got these young cops who know how to treat people.
She should remain calm. No matter what your situation you're in, you should calm down. But the sand and the heat could also make her unhappy and stuff. But the officers don't have the really right to do so. They put it into themselves. They punched her, which is not, which I couldn't see, but it seems that they shouldn't have done that from my understanding, because punching multiple times is not an accident. Well, multiple times in a row isn't an accident. Imagine that. But yeah, even after that, she should stay as calm as possible. She, right now, is not happy. They are making it way worse than it could be.
I'm gonna talk captain as if he will get too.
Good, I hope you do.
Yeah. Will! Dirtball! No! Who are you? You're all running cops.
Out before you get locked up too. Alright? What? No, tell me why you put Brown. She didn't even open the can. Listen to me. Nothing was open. No
Now's not the time to argue this, okay? Number one, you got a baby in your hand. So you take my baby. Shut up. You got a baby in the worry about her, not your girlfriend. You get that straightened out later.
Ms. Weinman's boyfriend criticizes the officers for their decision to punch Ms. Weinman during the confrontation. It is undisputed that officers are entitled to use reasonable force to execute an arrest or detention, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1989 case of Gray.
But I don't think punching is a reasonable choice. Yeah, she was resisting, but punching is a little harsh for anyone. Plus, she got already in cuffs, and they, from what I could see, they could easily pull her. Meaning punching is not really a reasonable force.
Graham versus Connor, quote, "Our Fourth Amendment jurisprudence has long recognized that the right to make an arrest or investigatory stop necessarily carries with it the right to use some degree of physical coercion or threat thereof to effect it. According to the National Institute of Justice, most law enforcement agencies have policies that recognize a, quote, use of force continuum and, quote, describe an escalating series of actions an officer may take to resolve a situation. This continuum generally has many levels, and officers are instructed to respond with a level of force appropriate to the situation at hand, acknowledging that the officer may move from one part of the continuum to another in a matter of seconds. In some situations, a closed fist punch is considered an appropriate method of control or restraint and a constitutional use of force. A closed fist punch is a type of quote-unquote empty hand control, where officers use bodily force alone to restrain a citizen, and is a mid-level escalation in a typical use of force continuum. Kicks and punches are known as quote-unquote hard techniques, and are considered a step above the soft, empty hand techniques, such as grabs, holds, and joint locks on the use of force continuum. It is difficult to predict whether a court would conclude that punching Ms. Weinman was an excessive use of force, or if it was constitutionally valid, as the legal analysis is highly circumstantial. For instance, in the 2009 case of Husbands versus City of New York, the Second Circuit held that, as a matter of law, a single punch to the torso of an individual who was resisting being put in handcuffs did not rise to the level of excessive force. But in the 2013 case of Martinez versus Snyder, the District Court of Delaware held that a reasonable jury could conclude that punching an individual in the face hard enough to fracture her orbital bone was excessive and not reasonable under the circumstances. The court explained that while the suspect did resist arrest, quote, "It is unclear whether it was necessary for Williams to punch her in the face in order to effect arrest. A jury could find that plaintiff, a female of small size, did not appear to be intoxicated, possessed no weapons, was held down on the ground by both defendants, had only one hand free, and did not seem to be trying to seriously injure defendants. Because whether a punch constitutes excessive force substantially depends on a jury or judge's discretion and interpretation of the facts, it is possible that the decision could go either way."
How old is she?
It was just punched him in her face, though.
Yeah, well, she tried kicking us, so.
What? She tried to shove, but they were able to handcuff her, and she already got put into arrest. They already got her when they started punching, from what I understand. So I doubt that was a good idea.
That's it. Yeah, she did. I go to. Yeah, it's fine. I go to stop her for LO for underage drinking. She said
She wasn't drinking!
20. She had twisted teeth. She wouldn't give you her last.
Twist what? He's making things up. There was no clear of twisting. She had an aunt who is the one who possessed the alcohol, and the alcohol was closed. She is not drinking.
His name. So I said, hey, if you're not going to give me your information, you're going to be locked up. She tried walking away from me. When she tried walking away from me, I tried grabbing her.
She only tried walking away is because she said you're under arrest.
She tried kicking at us, so we slammed her on the ground. She kicked him, and then...
No, from what I saw, like when we didn't see that part. I guess it got cut off. Or was deleted. Who knows? But check the body counts before doing much. Because it seems those two is mishandling the situation.
And I hit her a couple times, and then I put her in cuffs, locked her up.
Ms. Weinman was placed under arrest and transported to the Wildwood Police Station. She was charged with disorderly conduct, resisting arrest, and obstruction, all of which are disorderly persons offenses and not crimes. A bystander on the beach had filmed part of the confrontation and shared the video on social media, leading to an international outcry about the officer's conduct. After the footage went viral, Ms. Weinman was charged with several criminal offenses, including 2 counts of aggravated assault, throwing bodily fluids in the 3rd degree, resisting arrest in the 3rd degree, and hindering apprehension in the 4th degree. However, Ms. Weinman eventually pled guilty to a single charge of disorderly conduct, which is a petty disorderly persons offense. The Cape May County Prosecutor's Office conducted an investigation into whether Officers Cannon and Jordan used excessive force when arresting Ms. Weinman, and determined that there was insufficient evidence to warrant criminal charges. However, on October 14, 2019, Ms. Weinman filed a federal lawsuit against the officers and the city of Wildwood, and in November of 2020, the city agreed to pay a $325,000 settlement. Overall, the Wildwood Special Law Enforcement officers get an F. Because although the officers likely had reasonable suspicion to investigate Ms. Weinman, they baselessly threatened to arrest her for obstruction, failed to employ any measure of de-escalation, and used a disproportionate degree of force to subdue Ms. Weinman. The Wildwood Special Officers were well within their authority to approach Ms. Weinman and detain her under the suspicion that she was openly displaying alcohol on the beach. However, considering that New Jersey is not a stop and identify state, Ms. Weinman was not obligated to present her identification until the officers acquired probable cause and arrested or cited her. Instead of waiting a reasonable amount of time to investigate whether Ms. Weinman's claims were true, the officer decided to arrest her for refusing to provide her last name. It is clear from the body camera footage that the primary arresting officer was frustrated with Ms. Weinman's attitude, and this is likely why the officer failed to consider the disparity of force that existed between himself and Ms. Weinman. Standard protocol in any use of force situation generally considers the physical characteristics of the suspect, such as age, size, gender, and apparent strength, and it is clear that the 2 special officers had a distinct physical advantage over Ms. Weinman. This is likely why the city of Wildwood agreed to the settlement. Ms. Weinman also gets an F for failing to invoke her right to remain silent, refusing to comply with the lawful orders of the officers, and for physically attacking one of the officers as he approached her. As mentioned on many episodes of ATA,
that is true.
An arrest is never a good idea, regardless of the circumstances, and it is much more productive to fight your battle for justice in the courtroom, not on the street. The body camera footage clearly shows Ms. Weinman shoving the officer just before she's taken down, and footage from other bystanders shows her continuing to resist while on the ground. At no point during the interaction did Ms. Weinman invoke her right to remain silent, and she refused to obey several lawful commands while maintaining a hostile and condescending demeanor. All that said, nothing that Ms. Weinman did justified the level of force that the Wildwood Special Officers employed. While I do commend Ms. Weinman for following up this interaction with the proper legal action, I would caution other citizens in a similar situation to remain as calm and compliant as possible while invoking the right to remain silent. Let us know if there's an interaction.
That is true. Well, time for Reddit, because I ran out of videos. Okay, we're doing Am I the Butthole? Wait, let me go see this one. Am I the butthole for serving my boyfriend parents pizza for dinner? Wait, what? Alright, so this happened last night. I'm still confused by this whole thing. So I, female 28, have been dating my boyfriend, male 31, for 7 months. His family are Italian oranges and they take a lot of pride in it. They invited me over to their house and several times. Last night, his parents came over to the apartment for the first time. They said they were visiting a friend and decided to stop by for dinner. I freaked out when they said dinner because it was late, and I was working and had no time to cook. So I ordered pizza for all of us. The second his parents saw the pizza, they got pissed. His dad gave me a nasty stare and then said that I intentionally served them pizza just because they were Italians. In other words, he claimed I was mocking them and their food, and assuming that just 'cause they're Italian, then they'd only eat Italian food, which he called racist. I was confused and said I didn't think it was interpreted that way, but he said, if you have an Asian guest over, do you serve them sushi? 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 They mean sushi. You forgot the H. How would you like it if we only serve you McDonald's and fries every time you visit, since that's what Americans eat? I was stunned by his words. Basically, he was saying that just because they're Italian, then I shouldn't assume they'd all like to have pizza, but who doesn't like pizza? He and my boyfriend's mom got up and said they wanted to leave. My boyfriend tried to get them to stay and take it easy, but they left eventually. He blew up, but I said no, and that I didn't have time to cook anything after they showed up unexpectedly. He got more upset and asked if his parents needed permission to visit him. I backed up thinking he'd call down, not. He kept saying I insulted his parents and I need to apologize. I'm utterly and genuinely confused. Am I the butthole? Okay. Time for poll. Oh, apparently that's new results. Wait, how do you do polls? I don't know how to do polls. I guess you can say it in the chat. Is she the butthole? Because from what I understood, you don't really need. They actually came unexpectedly. It's always nice to have someone come. And since she was working, she actually didn't have time. And Americans also really love pizza. It's just something quick and cheap for a big group. She isn't in the wrong, I believe. Oh, battery low. But yeah, I don't think she was in the wrong in this scenario. Fly, go away. But she has no right to apologize. It's because of them that they freaked out. But yeah, if she was like, I think she would have done that either way, no matter if they're Italian or not. Because it's quick. Everyone loves pizza. Everyone knows that. And it takes about like 10 to 15 at Domino's anyways, just to get the pizza ready. For delivery, about 20 to 30. But yeah, she was working hard. Obviously she wouldn't be able to get something special ready if they came unexpectedly. So yeah, don't think you're the butthole. Wait, let's go tell her. I don't think I can't spell anymore. I don't think you're the butthole since my headphones are dying. That sucks. How long? Oh, 1 hour and 40 minutes. That's actually a long time. I think since. Wait, I'm scared this headphones is going to die, so I'm going to be right back. Let me just put it to writing. I'm just going to put on music so that you don't get bored as well. At least can hear something instead of being utterly in silence. Let's do this one. I'll also make this a little louder. Have fun! I will be right back. I am back! Let me just turn this off. Okay, or I can keep this on. Just make it quieter. Okay. I am back. I am back. Yay. Actually, I still need to add a background to this. I keep forgetting. Oh yeah, there's a picture I want to show you. Oh, it's so small. Let me show you something. This is hilarious. This picture. This is an AI picture that I found. This is supposed to be Immortal Gremlin. Apparently this is Immortal Gremlin. Do you think this is an Immortal Gremlin here? Like, look at this. Immortal Gremlin picture. Immortal Gremlin. But anyways, let's continue the the butthole. I don't, since I would have done the same. I would have done the same no matter their origins. It was your boyfriend's parents that overreacted. They came very unexpectedly. They came very unexpectedly. And you didn't have time to make something. So you're not the butthole. Okay. let's close it. Let's go to the next one. Am I the butthole for telling my mom and her friend that my work trip is not their holiday? What? Female 43, my mom 67, Kathy and friend, no idea, but older than dirt. Denise, I am currently working 2 hours away from my home office and staying in a 3-bedroom apartment paid for by my employer. The apartment is 1 hour from my mom's place and somewhere she visits frequently. My job is very stressful with long hours, so needless to say, when I get home, I want to chill out. My mom asked if she could stay for one night. I of course said yes, as I love spending time with her, but she didn't tell me she was bringing Denise, who I can't stand. They have now stayed 3 nights. They rocked up. Denise turned on the TV and said she had to watch a TV show she couldn't miss. There was a TV in her room, but wanted to watch it in the lounge in the big TV. My mom said that I shouldn't go watch TV in my room. Dennis has taken over my apartment. I can't do what I want to do and feel uncomfortable and can't relax. Dennis is not paying for any meals as my mom invited her on her holiday. Denise has used my ensuite bathroom and left a mess which I needed to clean. Tonight my mom said they would come back next week as she wants more time on her holiday. Her friend agreed. I lost my crap and said this is not your holiday and you're not welcome back. I told them I didn't want Denise here and she is mooching off of me and my mom. My mom is now upset and is calling me ungrateful and rude. I don't think I am the butthole, but did I go too far? No. No. Denise came without your permission. Came without your permission. Without your permission. She didn't help with anything in the house. And your mom didn't and your mom said only one day, only one night, but stayed longer than promised. They're the butthole for doing something or for being ungrateful. That they were even able to be there to stay for 3 nights and you did all the work. Like, I believe that is, from my understanding anyways, she actually had every right to kick them out, but she didn't. For keeping me company, my mom struggles to be alone at night and expects, like, from Gport 500 says, like, not the butthole. What are they expecting you to be grateful for? For keeping me company. My mom struggles to be alone at night and expects everyone else to be the same. I love being alone as my entire day is talking, so it is a break. But she obviously has Denise to prevent her from being lonely. What are you meant to be grateful for? Sounds like Mom lacks the empathy to understand that OP is not lonely when she's alone, and thinks OP should be grateful for her and Denise keeping OP company. And yet they send her to her room so they can use the big TV in the lounge. Common misperception, thinking single folks are alone and lonely. Impossible to think another human is content without another. Yeah, she is not the butthole for this. Okay, next one. Am I the butthole for saying that I don't feel sorry for sister-in-law getting divorced while I'm planning my wedding? Sister-in-law and I never truly got along. The reason is that we have different mindsets on some stuff regarding how we live our lives. And while I'm respectful or indifferent about her life choices, she always tried to impose her beliefs and choices on me and my fiance, her brother. My fiance and I, 26 male and 26 female, have been worked together for 7 years, and we have been a very loving relationship. He proposed 6 months ago, and I started wedding planning 3 months ago. Oh, I flew again. We have a very long relationship with great communication, and we still go on dates, like to dress up. We join activities and hobbies together, and overall, our relationship hasn't changed, and we haven't stopped loving each other, and more. Sister-in-law, on the other hand, has a different mindset. She was married, and her marriage was the kind of marriage where they brag about how much they hate and can't stand each other. She'd also mock me and my fiance's relationship the entire time and call our dates dressing up and our hobbies BS. Claimed we do it for attention and don't truly love each other. And also said how she can't wait till we end up hating each other too in the future. That's something that they should do. Okay, let's continue. She and her husband filed for divorce 2 months ago, and I honestly am indifferent about it. I don't feel sad or happy, I just don't care. Yesterday, my mother-in-law and father-in-law had joined us for dinner. As I was talking about some wedding stuff, my mother-in-law pretty much confronted me and said how can I be so happy and excited to plan a wedding while my sister-in-law is getting divorced. My fiance tried to intervene, but mother-in-law told him to shut up because he's a terrible brother who doesn't support his sister through those hard times. She also said I have no empathy for sister-in-law and I only care about my wedding and my little stupid dates. I told her I indeed don't feel sorry that sister-in-law, the person who bragged about hating her husband and being a loveless marriage, is getting divorced. She and her husband had it coming. Also won't feel sorry for a person who mocked my happiness and relationship. Mother-in-law said I'm very insensitive for saying this, and she expects an apology to her as well as to my sister-in-law for this. She left after that and only told me and my fiance to call her if she wants to apologize then. Am I the butthole? She left after that and only told me and my fiance to call her if she wants to apologize only then. Sounds like a win to me. What was she expecting you to do? Hold it off until sister-in-law found someone new? If ever. Oh no, wait, today probably was the goal. Enjoy the wedding planning and peace. Yeah, not the butthole. Now you'll have more freedom from the toxicity. And have it better experience. In the wedding plan. Toxicity. There we go. I don't know. Oh, toxicity. Yep. Okay, next one. Am I the butthole for keeping my boyfriend from his family's gifts? Gifts? Just need a little drink. Me and my boyfriend are preparing to buy a house for 330K. We have put in our offer, gotten the inspection, and they're just waiting for all the contingencies to be met. We have until next week to pull out of the contract. The house is small but nice. Everything was falling into place until his mom offered him to buy her old 500K home for only 350K. It isn't the nicest house, but it seemed like a great deal if we fix it up and sell it, but this is where the things got complicated. 330K is already at the top of our budget. We could only afford it because we got seller help. Since we can't afford 350K, she wants us to rent the house from her for 2 years until we can afford it while we fix it up. The main reason we are buying is to avoid losing money from renting. The house is visible deteriorated spots in the pillars and the whole inside needs to be remodeled. Who knows what else is wrong with it. Also gonna get rid of this pole thing. Okay, I'll leave it. Oh, remodel who knows what else is wrong with it. He asked me if I want to buy his mom's house, but I said no because it's too much work. Also, we aren't even sure if it's really worth 500K. He obviously really wanted me to consider it, so I told him to get pics from his mom and of how the inside currently looks because I haven't fully seen the inside. As soon as he got the pics, I saw how much work it was, and it made me not want it even more. He also told me that once we fix it up and sell it, his mom wants us to give her 100K from whatever money we make to return the favor. After the 2 years of renting, remodels, and negative 100K, we wouldn't even make that much money in my opinion. I told him I don't want the house still. He was like, okay, fine, then call my mom and tell her that you don't want it. Me and his mom don't have the best relationship and felt that like it isn't my place to call her to tell her that anyways. I never even said I wanted it in the first place. He then calls his mom to tell her I don't want the house because it's too much work. He keeps trying to get me to say something while he is talking to her to get us to have a conversation, but I didn't want to be a part of it. Oh boy, I'm so thirsty. He then calls his mom to tell her I don't want it out. Yep. Once I finally give in and talk to her, she starts to guilt-tripping me, saying I'm keeping him from his family gift. After the call ends, he says if I don't agree, he's going to be upset about this for a long time because he is missing out on a great deal. I honestly feel like there is a possibility of something fishy is going on, and his mom is trying to make money off of us fixing the house up. It's a gift wife, though we have to give her 100K at the end. It wouldn't be the first time we fixed things up for her and didn't get much in return. Anyways, now I don't know if I'm being a butthole and keeping him from the blessings or if I'm protecting us from years of stress. I personally feel like we would be much happier in our nice house that we already found. Not to mention, he was happy about the house we found until the situation came up. Wow. That is true. Oh, there's an update. After talking to my boyfriend and showing him this post, He claims she will help us pay for the renovations of this house if we buy it and not let us be broke. He claims we won't have to give her 100K, but instead 50% of whatever we end up making off of it. In my opinion, that's still a bad deal. 50%. Oh,
Can check my shifts today.
she said Friday. Wait, I'm going to mute.
Friday.
Hello? 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50%. 50% I am back. Where was I? Oh yeah, he updated from. He says, by all the comments, he doesn't feel like he was being a mama's boy or being delusional about it. Okay, in the comments I mentioned that we started to fix up one of her house's basements as we can rent it. Her house's basement so we can rent it from her. There was a lot of trash in there, so we spent days baking it all up. After we cleaned it up, she went back on our deal and rented it to someone else. He says he isn't mad about that because we didn't put any money into it yet. We still ended up moving to a different one of our house's basements. Instead, I told him that even though she gave us another basement, she still lied to us, so she can't be trusted. Oh yeah, she ended up throwing us out of the basement anyways and putting all our stuff on the street. Pretty much that basement ended up flooding multiple times because she didn't take proper care of it. Since it was unlivable, we went apartment hunting. She got mad at us for finding a new place to live and then threw us out on the street before our new lease started. She even locked us out of a lot of items and made us have to come back with the police to try to get it back. She tried to lie to the police and said we didn't even live there. All in all, he doesn't see that his mom can't be trusted and don't understand why I'm about to explode. I'm about to explode. At this point, I am worrying about moving in with him at all. This will continue to be a lifelong problem. Not the battle. Just go to a house that isn't hers because it will make your and your husband's life much more pleasant. Yeah. Oh, hi. Good morning. Good afternoon. Hello, Burb. Just have it a little cold. Cold. And have a hurt hand. But I am recovering. It's been a while, actually. How are you, Burb? How are you, Burb? How are you? This one is probably going to be difficult for Burb. What happened? My wrist, got weak. Yeah. My wrist got weak and I put too much stress onto it. Okay, let's continue. That's all this, am I the butthole for leaving my family in squalor and going to a resort? What? So let's begin with this. I make a decent amount, decent money, but I am no way rich. Oh, get well. Thank you, Burb. You're so sweet. Everyone here is so sweet. I'm so happy. I like to take my family on vacation and have been stymied for the stymied? I don't know how to say it. For the last couple of years. This summer I decided to do something I thought was pretty great. I paid for my family to go to Disneyland. Not just my wife and kids, but also my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my wife's brother, and his wife and kids, so 10 people. I also rented a McMansion. Wait, McMansion with a pool and everything. I bought all the groceries and rented a truck so I could ferry the luggage. In a case of emergency, we would have a vehicle. My kids are in their teens and my nephews are a few years younger. My immediate family did not require any help with the kids, and realistically, neither did my in-laws. So we get in the house and the problems start. The room I picked out for my wife and I is obviously the nicest. My father-in-law and mother-in-law chose to stay in the pool house. This left 5 other bedrooms for 6 people. Brother-in-law and sister-in-law, my 2 kids. There are 2 kids. Simple, alright? Not so fast. Why did I get the best room? They hadn't had seen nice time alone in years. Why did my kid pick the room with an ensuite? Why did one room have a bigger TV? Why are we having to cook some meals? Why don't we just order every meal? GFC. What is GFC? Wait. A GFC meaning. Greatest common factor. Okay. Oh. Oh yeah, I forgot about science. Oh, JFC. I will not say it. I just went to my room and went to sleep. First day more BS. Why do we have to wait in lines? Why don't we get the tour guide that lets us skip the lines? My wife started joining in. She said shouldn't be cooking at the house and that it wasn't fair to her and sister-in-law to be stuck with the cleaning. My kids always help. I do too. My brother-in-law sits in his ass though. My in-laws joined the fun at the end of the day. They didn't want to wait for the Uber. Could they take the truck and meet us back at the house? My wife said to let them. I got sick of it. I ordered everyone pizza, and then while they were gorging themselves, I called an Uber and went to a hotel that I am super shiny member of. I used my points to book a suite for the next 6 days. I texted my wife and told her I would catch up with everyone in the morning at the park. She is mad that I left her to deal with those ungrateful, greedy people. You're one of them. I'm sitting in the pool, enjoying a gin and tonic, and writing this because I left the park after I saw the new superhero stuff at the park. Her brother and sister-in-law are now bugging her to give up the nice room since she is alone. Now she is not on their side. Too late. So am I the butthole for leaving them to all sorts out their own stuff after I went out of the way to do something nice and they crapped all over it? I'm going to edit. This is the edit. I'm going to go get ready for the game. Thank you guys. You have given me a lot to think about. Yikes. Edit. My wife won't be small. She is spending the night with me at the hotel after the game. I'm back at the house tomorrow. My brother-in-law has been told if he even looks at our room, he and his wife are going to a motel. In-laws were told to Uber wherever they want. We are talking about everyone out for one dinner, but all other meals not made in the house are pay your own way. My brother-in-law is responsible for cleaning up after meals. I honestly didn't think she had that in her. Yeah, he's not the butthole because he is the one who paid everything and stuff. So, yep. I've been live for 2 hours. And again, thank you for that. I'm very thankful. Again, I'm thirsty. There we go. There we go. Am I the butthole for Wait, let's go here. Am I the butthole for contributing to my stepdaughter's wedding instead of giving more money to my daughter to pay off the student loans? Throwaway account. I'll refer to my kids by their ages to make it easier to follow along. I, 51 male, have 2 kids, 25 female, 19 female, with my ex, and 2 stepkids, 23 female, 21 male. From my current marriage, 25 female started college quite a few years ago, and I had college funds. She got in Ivy school and received a small percentage in financial aid, didn't qualify for more. She's now completing her master's from the same school and doing paid internship with a big organization. 25 female still has some student loans left. 23 female is getting married next year, and I'm contributing a decent amount to the wedding. I have a good income and also a decent amount of savings. Bottom line is that 25 female found out I was paying for a part of the wedding, and she's been pretty upset, saying that I could have sent some of that money to help her out. I asked her if she's struggling with managing everything. She said no, but that isn't fair to her or 19 female that I'm spending so much on 23 female's wedding. I said that I already contributed to her college fund, and my other daughter got a full ride to her school. She has nothing to do with any of that. She got kind of angry with me, and I know that she also had a bit of an argument with 23 female about it. Even 19 female got involved, saying that I shouldn't be throwing all this money for this wedding. After reading your comments, okay, here's an update. After reading your comments and understanding that you are not only paying for more of your stepdaughter's wedding than you had to either buy kids' college funds, are withholding the 19-year-old's excess to her college fund and will not contribute anything to your 25-year-old's wedding because don't see eye to eye with her fiance, and he already makes enough without any consideration also for how much of his income is going to his own student loans. YTA mutually so there isn't any equitable treatment amongst your children. You are creating issues between your daughters that may not have been there otherwise. You're showing blatant favoritism. You should really check yourself and your priorities. Oh, P.S. Yeah. Actually, just 19 female. Just getting car rides is even worse. Getting much worse treatment than the 25 female. But she's stable, but 23 female, I guess I don't really know. But yeah, I'm gonna continue. Am I the butthole for talking to my boyfriend's estranged mother without his permission? Okay, that so far, not. From what I see from the title. I'm 26 female, a PhD student, and I have been dating Sam, 29 male, for the last 3 years. Early on into the relationship, he told me that he's NC with his family. I've asked him why, but he said that it's not something that he wants to discuss. Wait, NC, it's better understanding. NC meaning? It's an acronym for not cool. Oh, okay, not cool. Not cool with his family. I have asked him why, but he said that he's not okay. I haven't brought it up since then, and he hasn't dropped any hints as to why. I was at a conference this past weekend where one of the keynote speakers and Sam's rather uncommon last name. I texted him a picture of the flyer and asked, "This is your long lost aunt or something?" He asked me back, saying, "No, that's my mom." I talked briefly with Sam's mom during the Q&A session that followed her presentation. She was so nice and patient when answering my questions that I started to wonder why Sam was not cool with her. After I came home from the conference, I told Sam that I talked to his mom and she seemed really nice. He dropped his fork on the floor and completely blew up at me. He accused me of betraying him, even though I told him that she had no idea who I was and that I talked to her to ask questions about her research. He also said that being not cool with his family automatically meant that I was forbidden from talking to them without his permission. I was so scared because I've never seen him get angry or raise his voice at anything. I booked an Uber to a friend's place and told him that I'm staying with said friend until he gives me a genuine apology and explanation as to why he's not cool with his family. He is not. Opie is not the butthole. It isn't his call on whether or not OP would have done. She had every right to talk to her, even though she actually didn't even know. She had to talk to her because of her research. I don't know what your boyfriend. I'm on my way. I hope your arm will recover it quickly. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I completely forgot you know that. So much. I am so happy for you for stopping by. For stopping by. I'm going to miss every single one of you. Have a good night. Have a good night, Burp. Good night. Oh. Oh. Boyfriend. Thank you. Have a good stream too. Thank you so much. What your boyfriend is not cool about his family. But from my understanding, he is being pretty toxic towards you and trying to force you into something that you have the right to have the right to talk to his mom. Okay, next. Am I the butthole for refusing to let my cousin live in my grandma's house? So far, yes. I, 25 female, inherited my grandma's house after she died. We were incredibly close. I spent every weekend with her, and she heavily influenced me to study what I do now, forensics, as that wasn't what she would have done, and as she the opportunity. She always told me that she was going to give me her house when she was gone, a 3-bedroom. I have 4 other cousins in my grandma's sides from my uncle, but they don't live in my country. All of them got some amount of money, her money, but nothing material like I did. Except for Molly, 28 female, who got nothing as she never phoned my grandma. Never thanked her for gifts, ignored her altogether, didn't go to her funeral either. I live in the house as I don't have the money to rent, and honestly it has a lot of good memories for me. I do live alone, but I don't mind too much. Last week, Molly came to our city unexpectedly. No one else in my family knew except for maybe her siblings. She went to my great aunt originally to ask for good places to stay, and was then pointed over to me. She asked me if she could stay with me for the duration of her being in the city, and I refused. I told her that she had the audacity to come to me and ask to stay in our grandma's old house when she hadn't spoken to me in over 15 years, and when I hadn't even gone to the funeral. She told me I was being unreasonable and that it wasn't right to hold the past against her when she wanted to regain a bond. Grandma died 6 years ago. I told her that I had no interest in a bond with her and sent her away. Issue is no one else in my family has room for her, and now I'm getting ganged up on my great aunt and her side, and I'll think I'm being petty and should let her just stay to see what happens. Maybe it's something good, I don't agree, and Molly has been staying in the hotel since she showed up. They haven't stopped wanting it to me, though. One of my cousins, Molly's brother, who I'm close to, phoned me and asked me to give her a chance. I firmly refused. I don't know. Am I being unreasonable? Am I the butthole? Adam, Molly is staying for a few months. Don't know the reason. I'm not interested and haven't asked. Okay. Yeah, don't. Yeah, not the butthole. I agree. She is not the butthole. Not the butthole. We will have every right. A right to refuse. You have every right to refuse. You now own the house. Yeah, now own the house, and you have every right, and your family can't tell you what to do to own the place. But yeah, can't tell you what to do to your own own place, your own property. It is your place. It's your property, not theirs. So yeah. What? What? Am I the butthole for demanding and making my husband file a court review to reduce child support for his other child? What? Oh gosh. I hope I don't turn out so wrong in this situation. Me, female, and my husband Tom have a child together, male. Tom has another child with his ex-wife, Connor, 13 male. At the time of the divorce, I only met him 3 years later. Tom had a stable job that paid well, so he judged real world child support was very high, and Tom had no problem paying. He has visits on weekends. After 1 year of our son, Tom was fired and found a job that paid much less than the previous one. For comparison purposes, the old salary, the child support took 13%, and with the current one, it took 85%. Yeah, that is way less. This created tension between us. I had to start working hard and twice as normal because Tom couldn't help almost anything at home, as there was only 15% of his salary left after paying my stepson's child support. Even though I talked to him, he said he didn't want to downsize so as not to harm Connor, and I really tried to be understanding. This reached my limit when I had an accident and was out of work for 3 months. I am self-employed and my salary has decreased by 95% in those 3 months. We didn't go hungry because my sister helped. That's nice of the sister. And if he was one day late in my paying child support, Tom's ex would call him and charge him, not caring that we were tight. Oh, excuse me. Talking to this is so thirsty. Makes me so thirsty. I'm so glad I brought a drink downstairs. 2 months like this, I sat down with Tom and told him that our son had the same quality of life as his brother, which is not happening and is harming my health. The accident was due to stress, so it was his decision, but that I would do whatever was necessary for my son to have a good quality, and it was time to realize that it is not possible to maintain this value of child support without interfering in the quality of life of his other son without I have to cover the whole. He tried to argue, but he saw my point of view, and after 1 month seeing this, the judge asked for a reduction in the value of the child support. It was proven that it was far beyond what he could pay without interfering in his life and other kid. He fixed it to 30% of his salary. Since Tom was never complained about it, it's pretty clear that I influenced him and his ex, texting me, saying that I'm not only lowering my stepson's quality of life, and that I should feel ashamed for doing this to a child. This is pretty mess, and it's left to me like the monster who did this to a child. Am I the butthole? Sorry for the English. Not the butthole. You're not the butthole. You and your husband were struggling just so. Hello, Jade. Welcome back. How are ya? Oh, how are you, Jade? You're back. Yay! Oh, welcome back. Right now we're just reading Am I the Butthole Reddit posts. We just got one person who's struggling to, okay, I'm just saying, like, you and your husband to pay off rent, pay off child support, and your child, who is much younger, younger is getting not getting what he needs. Way less than the other. You have every right to balance out the cost. But again, welcome back, Jade. Yeah, a lot of people agree, from what I can see. Back to, okay. Well, the first time I met you, you had 14 followers. Now you have 26. Yeah, that is true. That is very true. I did get 26 now. My 26 came today, actually. I am growing quite steadily, actually. Pretty quick, actually, in my opinion. Which I'm still happy about. That people enjoy my attention. Yeah. 26 out of 30. And when I get to my 50 goal, I'm going to do karaoke, so. I think I'll do one more of this post, and then maybe we can go back to the reactions. And then we can, yeah, we go back to the reactions because I'm getting very thirsty just from reading this. So yeah. Alright, female 30. Oh, you have been streaming for 2 hours and 38 minutes. Yeah, that is true. Actually, 2 hours 38 and about almost 39. And I've been just talking about Reddit about 40 minutes, 50 minutes maybe. So yeah. I 43. Wait. Am I the butthole for turning around in my car when I saw that my boyfriend brought his friend with him to go on a trip with us? Hi, female 30. I'm dating my boyfriend with Smith, male 39, for 8+ months. Not years, that will be a lot. We have been planning to go on a road trip, but it couldn't happen because he kept insisting that we let his 2 friends take along. He brought it up again and promised that he won't ask me to let him bring his friends with him since 1. I'm the one paying for the expenses, and 2. It's my car. 3. I always wanted us to go along for once without having his friends to take along. 4. I don't want to pay for his friends. That is true. We agreed that I'd come pick him up at in the morning so we could go. So we could go. I came in my car and entered his neighborhood. However, when I saw him standing outside with his bag and his 2 friends were also standing there with their bags, I was shocked and furious. I didn't pull over, I just turned around and kept driving and went back home. I saw him running after me in the rearview mirror. He then stopped and started calling me. I did not respond until I got home. He lashed out on me on the phone, asking why I turned around and left. I told him why and how I didn't appreciate. Well, he basically tried to force me to take his friends with us after I said no already. He called me awful and said that I ruined the entire thing for us and acted immaturely and spiteful. He said I couldn't just accept it and how it is about, but I told him that I would never accept being put in a situation where I'm expected to just suck it up. He hung up after yelling at me for a few minutes. I called back but got no response. He texted about how he embarrassed him in front of his friends and just refusing to speak to me until after I apologized. Am I the butthole? Not the butthole. Wait, do you think she's the butthole? Because I believe she's not the butthole. Not the butthole? Yeah. Yeah, she's not the butthole. Because it's her car, she's probably paying the expenses from what I understand. Oh yeah, she says I'm the one paying for the expenses. They're using her car, and she wants her to be alone with him. And she doesn't want to pay for his friends. Like if they are paying, they might as well go in their own car. If he wants to hang out with his friends instead of just with her, then just go by themselves. He has been very the butthole. Your boyfriend is um is the butthole since he is being very selfish. If he wants his friends to go on a trip with him, then he then he should uh, go with just them, and maybe if you're there, if you're included, that he should pay because they'd pay from my understanding. He's been a little bit toxic. He has been a little toxic a bit for it. He has been toxic. I advise to cut ties with him. I advise to cut ties with them. It might make your life better. Stitcherly on Bob says you better says the go. Okay. You're frustrated, yes. It might make your life better. Let's see what the others think about it as well. Yeah, that story was, well, glad she got out. Yeah, that's true. Not the butthole mate. Don't stop the car. Keep on driving. There is nothing for you back there. She says that she keeps him permanently in the rear view mirror and adopted Meatloaf song as her anthem. I'll do anything for love, but I want to do that. But yeah, that one's the last one. Time for the next. Let's turn off the song. Turned it off. What? I'm gonna do. Wait. I forgot to show you. Here we go. Right back. I'm gonna go drink. I'm not someone who knows much about law, but I definitely can say, give my opinion about it and show my my rating to them from what I could see from what's going on. Let's get that. My video should not be construed as legal advice. They are merely a yeah, this is the warrant. Disclaimer. Disclaimer.
Welcome to Audit the Audits, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers excessive force, mental health, and resisting arrest, and is brought to us by 9 News' channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On June 26, 2020, 73-year-old Karen Garner, who suffers from dementia and sensory aphasia, which impairs her ability to communicate and understand, attempted to leave a Walmart in Loveland, Colorado, carrying $13.88 of items she had not paid for when she was stopped by store employees. Ms. Garner attempted to hand over her credit card to pay for the items, but the employees refused to allow her to pay and took the items back. Ms. Garner left the store, and a Walmart employee then called the Loveland Police Department to report the supposed theft. Officer Austin Hopp responded to the call and tracked down Ms. Garner as she was walking home on the side of the road. Officer Hopp pulled up behind Ms. Garner with his lights on, and when she did not stop, he stopped his vehicle and approached her.
I'm sad. What happened? Let me go check Discord to see what happened. I gotta go. Aw. That's fine. If you need to go, you can go. I can still post this on YouTube. Yeah, I am so... Yeah. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, bye. Again, this is going to be in YouTube as well later on, so don't worry about it. Yep, bye. Have a great evening.
Alright, let's stop, ma'am. I don't think you want to play it this way. Ma'am, please stop. You want to stop with lights on, siren? Stop. You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? No. Okay. Let's stop.
After failing to effectively communicate with Ms. Garner, Officer Hopp grabs her and throws her to the ground in an attempt to restrain her. Ms. Garner, visibly confused, repeatedly tells Officer Hopp that she's going home as the two engage in a brief scuffle. Eventually, Officer Hopp is able to place Ms. Garner into handcuffs and lead her back to his patrol car.
I'm not doing anything.
Right now you're resisting, which is not going to fly with me. And before that, you tried to steal from Walmart. And they caught you and took the stuff back. Stand up. Oh, boy.
From what I can see here, if she resisted, he's gonna dislocate that arm from the position I can see. Here he has it. If he pulls this arm here way further back, it could break the arm or dislocate it. That's going to hurt her a lot, from what I can see. So if she resists, she's going to get hurt. So yeah.
I'm not doing anything.
Why are you fighting with me? And why are you trying to slip the cuffs off? Stop.
I'm going home.
No, you're not. Are you finished? Are you finished?
Another spot. If he pushes even further, bye-bye arm, she needs to get medical help because it's going to hurt. And she wouldn't be able to use it.
We don't play this game. You understand me? If you try to kick me, oh, this is going to be bad. Stop.
Shortly after Officer Hopp was able to gain control of Ms. Garner, Officer Daria Jalali arrives on the scene, and the two officers once again force Ms. Garner to the ground.
What? Well, she wants to go home. Yeah, from what I could tell from the beginning, she has dementia, meaning she doesn't understand what's happening, which also going to be. So for the officers, already just so far see she is. I'm not going to put it easy on her. Probably not B, but she doesn't have. It's quite under. I'm not going to give her a rank because she doesn't know what's going on and stuff. She doesn't realize what she's doing and stuff. It's by my understanding. Oh, but I'm so thirsty.
There we go. All right. Sit down.
I'm going home.
Sit down.
I'm going home. Get in the car.
In you go.
Do not hook onto him.
I'll come on the other side and grab her. What's that?
Huh?
Who's my sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first, I can tell you that. Sergeant Metzler, he's at the police department. You can go talk to him if you have an issue.
Yeah, give me your car so I can put a report.
Okay.
I see you there, how you throw the little kid.
Little kid?
Well, I don't know
He's not
if
a little kid. And this
he
is what
he was just walking, and I see you how
She
you
just
grab him.
stole from Walmart and refused to stop, refused to listen to lawful orders, and to fight me. This is what happens when you fight the police. I have to use force to safely detain her. That's what this is. This isn't just some random act of aggression.
Officer Jalali assists Officer Hop in restraining Ms. Garner's feet and placing her in the patrol vehicle, after which a concerned citizen confronts Officer Hop about his conduct. Although Officer Hop informs the citizen that he was within his authority to use force against Ms. Garner, his conduct almost certainly violated department policy, Colorado law, and the U.S. Constitution. Section 18-1-707 of the Colorado Revised Statutes currently states that, quote, peace officers in carrying out their duties shall apply non-violent means when possible before resorting to the use of physical force. A peace officer may use physical force only if non-violent means would be ineffective in effecting an arrest. However, this language was recently added to the statute by Colorado Senate Bill 20-217, and although the bill was signed on June 19, 2020, these provisions did not go into effect until September 1st, 2020. At the time of Ms. Garner's arrest, the statute that was in effect stated that, quote, a peace officer is justified in using reasonable and appropriate physical force upon another person when and to the extent that he reasonably believes it necessary to effect an arrest. When courts determine whether an officer's use of force is quote-unquote reasonable under both Colorado law and the Fourth Amendment, they review the totality of the circumstances, focusing on three factors identified by the Supreme Court in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor. Now, quoting, the severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect poses an immediate threat to the safety of the officers or others, and whether he is actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight. While it technically could be argued that Ms. Garner was attempting to evade arrest by slowly walking away from Officer Hop in her confusion, the first two Graham factors clearly weigh against the use of force in this situation. Ms. Garner was accused of the attempted theft of Pepsi, a candy bar, a t-shirt, and some Shout wipe refills, which is a petty offense in Colorado. And as an elderly woman with dementia who was 5 feet tall, weighed approximately 80 pounds, and was simply trying to walk home, she clearly posed no threat to anyone's safety.
That is true.
I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah, well, the way that I see
Officer is getting a D.
But you see, you don't know the whole situation. That's the thing.
Yeah, you know, but it's like...
But knowing the situation, do you feel differently now?
Oh, yeah. But you know, like seeing it from there, that guy just walking.
Yeah, I get that.
Know?
I get that. So when I went to go grab her and talk to her, she started running, leaving.
Grab her, talk to her. You're not supposed to grab them unless you're putting them under arrest. That's actually also another part. You given him up, given some evidence that it shouldn't have been told.
Away from me, trying to fight me.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't see it running.
Exactly.
You know.
So before you go to a snap judgment, you gotta get all the facts.
But right here, she wasn't running.
I get that.
I see her walking right there. You pull over.
I gotta deal with this. You hang tight, okay?
Get your feet in the car.
Alright. Here, let me see your feet.
Credit card.
We'll get it.
My credit card.
Poor old lady. She doesn't know what's going on. She has dementia, which really, really affects it. I'm not giving her a rank because I don't think I know what she could have done here. Dementia is something very important to know that. And you can't really blame her because she probably has forgotten to pay the stuff.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen? I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen?
Date and birth, Karen. Why is the police officer calling her Karen?
What's your date of birth? What's your date of birth? Okay.
The officers attempt to ascertain Ms. Garner's identity by asking her when she was born, but she refuses to engage with the officers. Throughout the interaction, it does not appear that any of the officers even consider the possibility that Ms. Garner was mentally unstable, despite the obvious symptoms of dementia she exhibits. The Loveland Police Department policy on interaction with persons suspected of suffering from mental illness states that, quote, department members are not expected to act as mental health clinicians, make diagnoses, or provide medical or psychiatric advice, but they should be aware of commonly encountered behaviors associated with mental disorders. The policy identifies dementia as one of the mental disorders that police officers often encounter, lists disorientation, regression, memory loss, and disordered thinking and speech as typical symptoms that officers should be aware of, and explains that, I'm quoting, when encountering a person exhibiting signs or symptoms that may indicate the person is suffering from a mental illness, enforcement personnel should attempt to establish a sincere relationship with the individual, while maintaining the safety and security of all persons involved throughout the encounter. According to the policy, officers should also model calm behavior and non-threatening body language, use simple commands, announce actions before initiating them, ask direct and simple questions that permit a very brief response, permit adequate response time when asking questions, utilize active listening techniques, and expect possible delayed responses due to confusion and fear. It is evident from the body camera footage that Officer Hop either failed to notice the clear signs of mental impairment in Ms. Garner's behavior or intentionally violated this policy in his interactions with her.
Negative, sorry. I got nothing else. It's just from a credit card she has. Copy. She's probably like 4'10", 5 foot, maybe like 100 pounds.
5 foot, 80 pounds.
Oh, you were good. Had her handled. If it was a big dude, it'd been different. But she was like 20 pounds.
80 pounds!
200.
What's with him? First he says 100 pounds, and then says 20 pounds. Make up your mind, dude.
Well, at least resisting right now.
Is that a 200? No, okay.
Hey.
Let's get her downstairs.
Okay, we don't need to wait for Bella.
No, we can see what. I mean, we know what's it say.
She stole some stuff, and they caught her before she left and got it back, and then she ran out. So we have the.
And you contacted her for that,
and then she resisted.
So
we're good either way.
So we're good either way. Cool. She's gone.
All right.
If they decide not to prosecute, I don't care.
Cool. Okay, we'll head down there.
Sergeant Philip Metzler tells Officer Hop that Ms. Garner is going to be charged with resisting arrest and obstructing a peace officer regardless of whether the Walmart employees decide to prosecute her for attempting to shoplift. Although laws vary from state to state, in Colorado, individuals can still be found guilty of resisting arrest when they are not convicted of the charge they were being arrested for. Section 18-8-103 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, which defines the offense of resisting arrest, states that, quote, it is no defense to a prosecution under this section that the peace officer was attempting to make an arrest which in fact was unlawful if he was acting under color of his official authority, and in attempting to make the arrest he was not resorting to unreasonable or excessive force, giving rise to the right of self-defense. However, if charges were pursued against Ms. Garner, she would have a strong argument that she was acting in self-defense, as a court would likely conclude that Officer Hop was using unreasonable and excessive force. Additionally, Ms. Garner's mental condition could serve as another defense if charges were filed against her, since to obtain convictions for both resisting arrest and obstructing a peace officer,
Yeah.
which is codified in Section 18-8-104 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, the government would be required to prove that she acted, quote-unquote, knowingly, which Section 18-1-501 defines as being aware of the nature of one's conduct. Under Section 18-1-803 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, evidence of a quote-unquote impaired mental condition, which Section 16-8-102 defines as, quote, a condition of mind caused by mental disease or defect that prevents the person from forming the culpable mental state that is an essential element of any crime charged, can be offered as a defense to show that a criminal defendant was incapable of acting knowingly. Given Officer Hopp's use of excessive force, Ms. Garner's right to self-defense, and her impaired mental condition, it is highly unlikely that she would be convicted of resisting or obstructing. And this is likely why the charges against her were quickly dropped.
Yeah, that's actually true for everything. If you get fired because of a mental health condition, or some health issues, you can easily get sued for it because they can't help it. You get like if you get cancer, you definitely can't get be forced to do anything. If they continue to go there, then they continue to go there. If they fire, they get sued. That's what it does. If you accidentally fire someone, you can quickly say like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't realize why you weren't doing it. I will try to fix that mistake and stuff." That's one way to get out of it. But yeah, you have to be careful on what you do to someone who has some mental health or any health issues. You have to be careful every time because you can get in deep trouble for it.
Hey, you got the door open. Come on, Karen.
Oh, this is the first time we went in here.
Oh, good thing we got the hot one. But you didn't.
After the officers brought Ms. Garner to the police station, she was carried inside, handcuffed to a bench, and left there for several hours without medical care. As a result of Officer Hopp's use of force, Ms. Garner suffered a fractured and dislocated shoulder.
Yeah, like I said, the way he handled her, you could tell from the arm. Where was it? Yeah, wait, we're now 12:42. Okay, like you can tell from here, the placement is where you can easily dislocate an arm. It makes sense that she lost something. And since they didn't give her medical care when she needed to, even if there was no mental health involved, that's still quite rude to do so.
Bloody nose, scrapes to her
Wait.
face. Ms. Garner suffered a
Separate
fractured and
dislocated
shoulder, a bloody nose, scrapes to her face, and contusions to her knees. She was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder following the incident and continues to suffer debilitating physical pain in her shoulder, arm, and wrist. While Ms. Garner was restrained at the police station, security footage showed Officers Hopp and Jalali reviewing the body camera footage with Community Service Officer Tyler Blackett, high-fiving, bragging, and celebrating the injury to Ms. Garner's arm. In his
Okay, they are having an F for that. You're getting an F.
narrative report on the use of force, Officer Hopp wrote that,
F.
quote, upon contact, the suspect attempted to flee the scene and was placed onto the ground to safely detain her. The suspect fought against officers continuously, and several controlling holds had to be used. The suspect sustained minor lacerations to her wrists from the handcuffs and a small laceration to her chin. Despite the fact that this account was clearly contradicted by the body camera footage and Ms. Garner's actual physical condition, multiple higher-level officers, including Sergeant Metzler, approved the use of force as, quote, necessary, reasonable, and within policy. In fact, no action was taken against any of the officers involved until Ms. Garner filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Loveland.
Yeah. I'm not happy with this. bad
Officers
officers.
Hop and Jalali and Sergeant Metzler on April 14, 2021. Ms. Garner's attorney, Sarah Shilka, publicly released the body camera footage, and in response to national outrage over the incident, Officer Hop was placed on administrative leave, and Officer Jalali and Sergeant Metzler were reassigned to administrative duties pending an internal investigation. All three officers, as well as Officer Blackett, later resigned, and the city retained law enforcement consulting firm
Wait, didn't they get fired though?
Hines to conduct an independent investigation of the arrest and the department's policies, practices, and procedures. On May 19th,
Oh, her name is actually Karen.
the
Okay.
Colorado 8th Judicial District Critical Incident Response Team concluded an investigation into the incident, and criminal charges were filed against former officers Hop and Jalali. Mr. Hop pled not guilty to all three charges and is scheduled for a jury trial in April 2022. As of the date of this episode, Ms. Jalali has yet to enter a plea on the charges against her, and they remain pending. However, Loveland city leaders agreed to pay Ms. Garner a $3 million settlement on September 9th. Overall, the former Loveland officers get an F for escalating a minor violation into an unnecessary and violent arrest, failing to consider Ms. Garner's mental condition before using force, and for displaying an unprofessional attitude and what could certainly be considered sociopathic tendencies at the very least. The conduct of Mr. Hop and Ms. Jalali was nothing short of inhumane from the very beginning of this interaction, and their corruption continued well beyond Ms. Garner's arrest. Not only did the officers celebrate injuring a mentally unstable senior citizen, but they also made several attempts to alter or delete the body cam footage. Lackluster covered the details of the officers' actions following this encounter, and I highly recommend checking out his video to get a fuller picture of the lengths these officers went to in an effort to cover their tracks. I will leave a link to his coverage in the
That's also illegal to do so?
description below. The behavior of these individuals extends far beyond the context of a police encounter, and I believe that Mr. Hop's actions were just as much those of an evil and dispassionate person as they were an act of officer misconduct. This is yet another officer who deserves a grade lower than an F, and this interaction highlights the importance of taking legal action following an act of misconduct. If Ms. Garner hadn't filed her lawsuit, then this encounter likely would have never been known to the public, and Officer Hop would still be a member of the Loveland Police Department. As for Ms. Garner, it would not be appropriate to assign a grade to an individual who is not in full control of their mental faculties at the time of the interaction.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This encounter is a prime example of the current relationship between American policing and individuals suffering from mental health conditions, and is a testament to the complications that often arise when poorly trained officers attempt to handle these cases. Ms. Garner was not only a victim of police misconduct, she was also the victim of a corrupt human being, and a society's refusal to act upon the shortcomings of policing and mental health care. I commend Ms. Garner for having the courage to follow up this interaction with the proper legal action, and I sincerely hope that this encounter inspires other departments to take preemptive measures to ensure that their officers know how to properly handle mental health calls. Let us know if there is an
Okay. Well, I'm going to end the stream here. If you want to see the entire stream, I'm going to upload it into YouTube. You can also see it in Twitch as well. So, let's see who is live. I will go to Israel. Okay. /raid. Yep. I'm going to go raid him. I will see everyone later. Bye bye.